everyone. Halito. Oh my god. Hey y'all, stop it. Oh man, I'm flattered. Y'all, you hear this? Welcome to Naturalism of Yahweh YouTube channel, where the videos is inconsistent, but the product and editing is fire. I know. A lot of y'all was like, I need to quit being inconsistent and keep bringing out these videos for you. I know why y'all want to do it, because I'm the fucking best. That's why. Now let me quit playing, because I don't want these other content creators to come at me and make it seem like, oh, he big-headed, he think he knows so much, he think he know more than us. No, I'm down here and they up there, but I'll get up there soon, just watch. But anyways, this is Newspaper Discoveries. This is Newspaper Discoveries. In the last video of the Newspaper Discovery, you have learned about the Pygmies and a theory that black people have discovered America. Today, we're going to be furthering that evidence based off this old knowledge that the world no longer wants to view. But just because they don't want to view it doesn't make it not true. It's absolutely true. But let's go ahead to the Newspaper Discoveries. The first discovery of the video quotes an authority who holds that there is no such thing as a purely white man. What? We're gonna make that the title of this video too. There is no such thing as a pure white man. In the Newspaper Discoveries, Mr. Swearingen speaks of the heaven-born origin and mission of the Caucasian when the fact is admitted by all authorities on ethnology and anthropology that there is in existence no such thing as a pure white man. Last summer, the World's Congress of Race met in London, and among other things, Mr. H.H. Johnson in his address said, here we go. Oh, we gotta understand this up here. They literally just said there's no such thing as a pure white man. So even during those racist times, what the hell you white people was fighting for? Y'all wasn't even pure. There's no such thing as a pure white person. So if you're not pure, what were you? What was you? Where did you come from? For real, where did you come from? Right? So we're gonna dive into the second paragraph. It says the earliest types of white men have mingled with the primitive Mongol or directly with the primitive Negro. There is an ancient Negroid strand underlying the populations of southern and western France, Italy, Sicily, Corsica, and it says Sardinia in Spain and Portugal, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. Evidence of the former existence of these Negroid people are not only found in the features of their mixed descendants at the present day, but the fact is assisted by skull skeletons and works of the dating back to a time which may be as remote as 30,000 to 40,000 years ago. Hold on, y'all. They just admitted right here that the Negroid populations is literally the original people of those lands. So shout out to the big Moors, shout out to the Moors that actually know who they are. Again, if Negroes ruled that population, where did the Caucasian come from? I told you, we the world, baby, we the world. And this is old information, but they no longer want to view it. Why? Because it gives too much power to you when they place you at the bottom. Now, here we go. It says, nowhere in the world exists a pure white race in whose ancient ancestry there has been no intermixture whatever with the Mongol, the Negro, or the Dravidian Indian, and perhaps a white race which receives no rill of blood from the other human types. It says, from time to time may die of physical degeneration. So you see right here, right? They even bringing up Tartaria on y'all down here. But they literally saying there ain't no such thing as a pure white person. So where did they come from? There is something of the Red Indian and the peoples of Scotland and Ireland, of Germany, northern Russia, Tartary, or you could say Tartaria, and Siberia. Due to the continued existence in these regions of a very ancient intermixture between the Proto-Caucasian and the Mongol, which assisted to people only Northern Europe and Asia, but also North America. So again, check this out. Y'all can learn everything about the Mongol people in my video, The Mongol Invasion of America. Go check that video out. But Caucasians are literally Mongols too. They are the same stock. Why you think Native Americans DNA, they always pop up their DNA always pop up as Caucasian too? Why? It's because these people are the same stock of the same family, people. This ain't no lie. This is truth. And the truth should set you free. How old is this? August 1911. Germania docket. You already know how them Germans get down. Let's go ahead to the next news. It's the next newspaper discovery that was found by me. Newspaper discoveries. Here we go. The Monitor. And it reads, what's the year on this? January 12th, 1923, Omaha, Nebraska, Friday. Were Negroes the first to discover America? Of course we was. I said, of course we was. Here it is over here on the right. Blacks, not whites. Blacks, not whites. Were discoverers of America claim. It was by a Harvard professor. It said Harvard professor creates mild sensation at Science Association convention with novel theory. It says Indians of Negroid origin. We already know this. Score measurements establish fact according to scientists that Negroid types furnish ancestry. It says the Cambridge, Massachusetts, January 12th. A new theory of the origins of American Indians, which placed Negroes or Negroid types as their ancestors, was explained in a paper by Professor Roland B. Dixon White of Harvard University before American Association for Advancement of Science and convention here last week. Dr. Dixon paper in which he declared that Negroid groups which crossed the Bering Strait were among the American Indians' ancestors caused a great stir in the anthropology session. From his statement, Negroid peoples would appear to have been the first discoverers of America. Of course it was. It says others who crossed the Bering Strait thousands of years ago to become the ancestors of the American Indian were people of white stock related. What did we just read in the last paper? It said to the so-called Caucasian group, according to Dr. Dixon, Turkish tribes and other Mongolians and the black Australians blended in variation proportions form the different races of American Indians. Many tribes, in the opinion of the speaker, were largely Negroid in earlier times, but underwent transformation by mixing with other tribes and since the discovery of America by the infusion of white blood. We know this is true. If you go read my Mongol Invasion, you will read about the black Mongolians. You will read about these other people, the Australianoids, and these people coming over here as well. But there were already people over here before these other types of people came here. But this is just another spin to their Bering Strait theory. But at least they're slowly admitting that it was black people first. They always want to make it seem like somebody came here, but people were already here before they said somebody came here. They're always trying to make people come from one area. The whole theory is based on the minute measurement of tens of thousands of skulls. The different types of man in the old Stone Age, according to this theory, differ very sharply in the shape of their skulls. The middle type combining the characteristics of the long heads and the broad heads. was probably rare in earlier times and was formed by the blending of sharply differentiating ancient types, according to Dr. Dixon. His method was to measure thousands of Indian skulls of the present day and thousands of years ago in an effort to trace their characteristics to earlier Asiatic and European stock. You see what the hell they was looking for? They was looking for the Asiatic and European stock. They wasn't looking for the Negroid, but they just happened to find us. They already knew we was here. When they sailed over here, they already knew it was us. I don't know why they want to play these games, but you know it was us. It says the formation of the nasal bones played a prominent part in the inquiry. Boas raises objection. This is, the anthropologist going to come out and be like, objection. This goes against our theory. So therefore, this is fake. We don't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. But they didn't even bother to sit down to even acknowledge this stuff. But they already knew it. They just didn't want you to know. They don't want the world knowing this stuff because why? That means the U.S. government owes us a lot. The world owes us a lot. So they can't let you know that the American land is the Negroid land, the land of the Negroes. Let's continue. It says Dr. Dixon, who is the scientist of the high standing and barely finished his paper before two noted anthropologists, Professor Boas of Columbia, Washington, were on their feet to opt the United States National Museum at I think they said oppose him. I think they messed it up. It says were to their feet to oppose him, denying that such far-fetching conclusions could be adduced on the basis of score measurements, though hailing the paper as an important contribution to anthropology. You cannot be double standard when it comes down to anthropology. Y'all always want to measure everyone else and say this is this and this and that. But as soon as we find a Negro, just like what happened to Lucia, y'all want to destroy the skull and call it a Mongol. But at first y'all called it a Negroid type. We see what you do. We see what the anthropology world do. Is there anything else that's talking about it? I think it ends right there. Yeah, it ends right there. All right. That was, were Negroes the first to discover America? Yes, they was. On to the next paper. This one is a bit lengthy, so please stay with me. I'm going to let this one be the final paper of this video because I don't want this video to be too long, but I just want you to get the understanding of what the hell we're talking about right here, right? All right, now let's go ahead and get to this. This is the New York Times, Saturday, December 30th, 1922. Again, this is the newspaper discoveries. So we're looking into old newspapers. And it says Negroid group discovered America. The Negroid group discovered America. So we continue this thing with Dr. Dixon startled scientists by asserting black types were among Indian ancestors. Well, he dropped the ball. Let's go ahead and get down because it started talking about other stuff. Let's see. Does it start right here? Okay, I believe it goes in depth right here. Okay. It says Dr. Roland B. Dixon of Harvard said that a study of the earliest Indian skulls indicated that some were descendants from blacks and Negroids, others from primitive Australian stocks, others from whites resembling the Nordics, and others from Mongol and Turkish strains, all of whom crossed the Bering Strait in prehistoric times. The most recent approaches which have been made to the solution of the riddle of life itself, the process by, okay, that ain't got nothing to do with that. Let's see. Right here, it says Dr. Dixon's paper in which he declared that Negroid groups which crossed the Bering Straits were among the American Indian ancestors caused a great stir in the anthropology section. From his statement, Negroid peoples would appear to have been the first discoveries of America. Others who crossed the Bering Straits thousands of years ago to become the ancestors of American Indian were people of white stock related to the so-called Caucasian group, according to Dr. Dixon. And it says Turkish tribes and other Mongolians and the black Australians blended in various proportions formed the different races of American Indians. Many tribes, in the opinion of the speaker, were largely Negroid in earlier times. It says, but underwent transformation by mixing with other tribes and since the discovery of America by the infusion of white blood. Okay, it says based on the skull measurement, the earlier skulls of the Iroquois and some of the other Indians show strong Negroid features. Let's repeat that again for the so-called individual. What's his name? Chief Smoke a lot. Let's repeat that again because we got a pretending to be an Iroquois out here on TikTok. It says based on the skull measurement, it says the earliest skulls of the Iroquois and some other Indians show strong Negroid features. And it says continually modified from age to age as the Iroquois extended their lower end territory, laking captives from other tribes and absorbing them. It says the whole theory is based on the minute measurement of tens of thousands of skulls. The different types of men in the old Stone Age, according to the theory, differ very sharply in the shape of the skulls. The middle type combining the characteristics of the long heads and the broad heads. Now, I know in this newspaper document is saying some of the same stuff of the newspaper we just read, but this is an expansion on what was stated. So again, bear with me. All right. It says rare and early types and it was formed by blending of the sharply differentiated ancient types. According to Dr. Dixon, he mentioned was to measure thousands of Indian skulls of the present day and thousands of years ago in the effort to trace the characteristics to earlier Asiatic and European stock. Again, they looking for the white man. And it says the formation of the nasal bone played a prominent part of the inquiry. Dr. Dixon, who was a scientist of a high standing, had hardly finished his paper before two noted anthropologists, Professor Franz Boas of Columbia University and Dr. Elise Hyderica of the United States National Museum at Washington, were on their feet to oppose him. They were already trying to oppose him with no type of evidence, y'all. With no type of evidence, they was just ready to oppose him because he went against the grain. These are the anthropologists that we like. These are the anthropologists that we love. The ones that go against the grain. All right, and it says denying that such far-fetched conclusions could be abducted on the basis of skull measurements through battling the papers as an important contribution to anthropology. After explaining his method of tracing racial genealogies, Dr. Dixon continued as follows. For Europe, Asia, and Africa, the outcome was in general and close occurred with the best conclusions reached by other students, although in some instances, the results were decidedly novel. It was in the New World, however, that the method led to conclusions most variance with accepting doctrine and which may perhaps be described as revolutionary. It is therefore of these conclusions that I wish to speak briefly. The current orthodox theory in regard to the aboriginal inhabitants of the American continents seems to be that they constitute a single race allied most closely to the people ordinarily grouped together as Mongoloid, and that they were derived originally from the Asiatic continent. That is what he is battling right there. He's basically saying that is not true. He said the Bering Strait migration. Now he goes into depth to explain the Bering Strait migration. Let me take a drink real quick. I had to do that. Okay? Because this is lengthy. They show a striking arrangement and the analogies to that found in Europe or Asia, and that some of the relegated to extreme marginal positions of refugee areas, as if they were the surviving remnants of ancient groups, while others occupy central positions such as befits more recent and dominant types. Historically, also the several types show a definite and ordinarily sequence repeated in both North and South America. It says, on the basis, I believe we may assume that the aboriginal populations of America at the period of the earliest European continent was the result of the blending of a series of different racial types coming into the North American continent at different periods across the Bering Strait from Asia. After giving a technical description of, we going to the top. One type of Indian skull found in different parts of the geographical pattern. The speaker continued, in both continents. Thus, this type is clearly an ancient one, as shown both by archaeological evidence and geographical distribution. The affiliation, which is suggested for this type, will I know, met with incredulity and strong opposition. For on the basis of the method followed, its nearest relatives are to be found in the Negroid and Australoid populations of Melanesia. It's getting high. I bet y'all like, ooh. What you got here? What you got here, Natural? I bet y'all like, whoa. It says, by this, I do not mean to imply, however, that it means a trans-Pacific drift from Melanesia to American shores, but rather that it reached the New World at an earlier date of the eastern Asiatic coast in the Bering Straits. While at the present day, there is not much superficial evidence of Negroid and Australoid people of Eastern Asia. They say in the present day. Yes, it is, because you're looking at them. You're looking at them right now. Look at it. You see, you're looking at them right now. You're looking at them right now. Let's go. And it says, I believe clear indications that people's blending of them once extended all along these shores. In Neolithic times, such types were present in Cambodia and Tonkin. And some of the mistakable evidence, and Tonkin, some of the wild tribes of Indochina still show unmistakable evidence of their survival there. It says, for China, the data are as yet to merge to be much value, although traces of the type seem to be found. And it says the Ainu of Japan, and especially the Sakhalin, some Japanese word. It says the evidence of its persistence is unmistakable. And it says, moreover, certain supposedly ancient cranial from the Antillean Islands, Aleutian Islands afford still another link. So they finding us all around, y'all. They finding us. I think we got one more paragraph to go. One more section to go right here. Now we're gonna read. Excuse me. It says, if one follows the type geographical from southern India, for example, east and north along the Asiatic coast to the American areas in which it occurs, it says a progression of weakening in the superficial Negroid characteristics may be observed in the minimal pigmentation growing lighter, the hair straighter, the face less prognathous, and certain well-recognized Negroid characteristics of the skull, such as the nasal falsiae, and become more and more. Oh, these are words I've never seen before. Antonated, some crap like that, y'all. You can say it. You can say it. They're going to word right there. You say it. We all reading along, right? And it says, until they almost wholly disappeared. Absurd. It says, absurd as the suggestion appears at the first sight. I believe that with fully archaeological material from America and Eastern Asia, the fact of a very early Negro Australoid stratum will be fully substantiated. All right. And it says the prehistoric whites came first, according to this theory. The prehistoric blacks came later and pushed the whites to the wall or to the outer utmost of the continent. And you see how he tried to lie? No, it wasn't. In North America, the speaker continued, this type is thus mainly represented among the Eskimos of the whole northern and northeastern margin of the continent of Greenland. He said that's where the white folks was at. And it says in South America, among the living and extinct tribes of the extreme south and southeast of all types, it occupies the remotest margins, as though it were of all forms of the oldest in the New World. It says, after technical description of the skulls of this type, the speaker continued, its relationship lied with the group which formed the basis of which is commonly called the Nordic race. Y'all, I believe we read this. Hold on. Yeah, we read this. We don't have to read the rest of this. We read this before, y'all. We read this before. Let's go ahead and continue down. We read that in the last newspaper discovery. Some of the stuff is still the same stuff. We don't have to read the same stuff. The only part I'm going to read right here is the first paragraph. But it says Indian, not single race. In the brief, the theory were proposed while regarded the American Indian as not a single race, but as a complex of four main racial elements coming into the continent at different periods. The two earlier of these survived in any degree of purity only along the continental periphery, while the fourth and the latest comer found a dominant element in a great majority of the historic populations. We know it is fictitious. Look at the Native Americans today. They are not the biggest nation here. They know the Negroid is the biggest here, y'all. But that is, if y'all want to go look this up yourself, go research this newspaper yourself. It says Negroid group discovered America, and this is the source. Go find it and go read this whole newspaper yourself if you want to learn more about this this theory, right? I guess we'll read one more paper. We can read one more paper, and then we're going to end the video. This is a bonus right here. This is going to be the last newspaper of this video in the newspaper discoveries. And it reads, scientists finds lost race lived on coast. Excavation shows trace of ancient Negro race at Rancho Santa Fe. It says Los Angeles comparing a skull structure with the Australian Negroids, a race of human beings once lived and disappeared in Southern California. Malcolm Rogers, archaeologist for the Smithsonian Institution, reported here with a preliminary excavation at Rancho Santa Fe. The predecessor of even ancestral Indian tribes lived 10,000 years ago. It says the geological indications prove, according to Rogers, a difference in the construction of artifacts, he said, disclosed that the dwellers fell into two classes separated from another by considerable time. He has tentatively named the groups the scrapper markers and the proto-scrapper markers from utensils, the utensils found in their ancient camping places. An interesting side light was thrown on Southern California weather by the explorations. Drainage lines implied a much heavier rainfall here in the days of the scrapper markers. It says savage and uncultured, uncultured, the ancients still had wit enough to build their rough huts on high ground away from floods. It says the primitive people lacked even the weapons to kill deer, although deer abounded. They lived mostly on clams and fish. Sorry, y'all. Clams and fish, with possibly a bitter flour pounded from the pith of shrubs. Dr. Rogers announced he would check his findings with geologists. He also will study the geological record of emergencies and subsidings of the coastline over long periods. Such a rising movement at this time is believed responsible for the coving off of a 3-acre section of Point Furman near here. Some of the scrapper marker villages are now below sea level, Rogers has found. So they show you our people are underwater, under the rivers. They show you that our remains is under there. They know about this stuff. The Aboriginals are fully differentiated in skull structure from the American Indians. You see what read that again. It says the Aborigines are fully differentiated in skull structure from the American Indians. Rogers made plain. So who is the Aborigines and who is the American Indian? Two types of people were here. Yes, they want to throw the so-called European here too. Yada, yada, yada. We know about the white giants and all this other stuff. We know about that. But y'all are seeing what they have discovered in these times. And they just swept it under the rug and they just brought out Lucia as if she was the first one out of the many that are Negroes that they found. No, sir. Go look into these old newspapers and you're going to find the truth. Lucia isn't the first one. And she is not the only one. In fact, she is the youngest. People, we are the original here. Let's go ahead to the end of this, and then we're going to end this video. Well, that concludes the newspaper discoveries. I told you in this video we was just gonna expand on the simple fact the Negro population was the first ones here in America. Dr. Dixon gave you some credible evidence to prove that the Negro populations was here first, and that America had multi-demographics of peoples that was here. That was indigenous here. But Aborigines, it was the Negro population. And you can count the Australoid population and Negro population as one and the same. I don't know why they separate us, but we are still of the Negro stock regardless. But you have learned a lot today, and I hope you go do your own research on the documents that I have presented, and I hope you expand on it as well. Thank you for watching the newspaper discoveries. Halito.